Have you ever been on a date with a guy that you were not attracted to?
No, I tend to think it's more of a guy thing. I don't think females do so much. I think there's only sort of pressure if you think your friend's dating a complete douchebag.
But some people are like, well, if you're not trying to text me every day, that means you don't like me.
Do you think men need a lot of validation?
Yo guys, welcome back to another episode on my channel. I'm sitting in this spot, which means I have another great conversation lined up for you today. You know, on this channel, we like to talk about all things dating and, you know, talk about the things and what we can do to attract the kind of person we want for a relationship. So without further ado, please welcome Annishia to the show.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good.
Did I say your name right? Annishia?
You did, yeah.
Where's that from?
Annishia.
Annishia.
Well, I'm Cuban and Jamaican, so
okay,
yeah,
okay,
from
nice.
that area, but yeah, it's used quite a lot in Asia as well. Annishia.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a kind of more
Yeah.
Asian name. Well, let's jump right in. So tell us your age or your age range, if you don't want to share your age as a young woman. And tell us one thing a guy should know about you if you wanted to take you on a date.
Okay, well, I don't like to divulge my age, no.
Okay. Can you give us an age range then?
Age range?
Yes.
Late 20s.
Okay, cool.
Early 30s.
Nice.
Range.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And what was the question, sorry?
And one thing a guy should know about you if he wanted to take you on a date.
Take me on a date. One thing I would say, I'm not impressed by like fancy restaurants or like spending a lot of money on a date.
Okay. Is that what you've experienced a lot of?
I have done a fair bit, but I think it's like a lot of guys think that's what they should do to impress you on a first date.
So what should a guy do to impress you?
On a first date?
Yeah, like what's the kind of thing that you look for?
Just like a genuine connection with somebody.
Okay.
You know.
So you don't mind if he takes you to McDonald's then?
You know, I have actually been to McDonald's on a date before.
The first date?
Yeah. Actually, this is very weird, but with my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
The first thing he bought me was a Big Mac from McDonald's.
That's so romantic.
How romantic, right?
That's so romantic.
Yeah.
And how long were you with him for?
A lot of years, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe McDonald's first date's the way to go, guys. Guys, like men, stop spending all this money at fancy restaurants. Clearly, you just need a Big Mac and you're good to go.
Yeah. No, we were together for about 6 years, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not like a great fan of McDonald's, but I was polite enough to take the burger on the first date.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you have some things that you want to ask and talk about today. So what's one thing you want to ask in regards to dating today?
Well, okay.
She came prepared. She wants to grill me. So here we are.
What can we ask about dating?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think the purpose for men is with love bombing?
Ooh, like really early on.
Yeah.
I think there's two things that immediately come to mind. He either A, really wants to take you off the market. So it's like he wants you to know, or he wants you to go, oh, I really have this guy, so I'm not open to anything else. And get to a point where you're comfortable enough with him and you trust him enough that you can be intimate with him, basically, a lot of the time.
Right. Okay.
Why? What do you think?
Well, I think it screams a lot of insecurity.
Well, if a guy L-bombs you?
Yeah.
Okay, why do you say that?
Because it's like, it's very over-the-top affection, which is not really a realistic thing, right?
Yeah, I think over-the-top affection has to be earned in a way. So it's kind of, if you've been together for almost a year, that's probably pretty normal, right? Because you've developed that intimacy with each other. Mm-hmm. But if it's like on the fourth date, it could be like, why are they coming on so strong? So I would agree with you. But you say insecurity. What would they be insecure about?
I don't know. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not really sure, but I found love bombing. I wasn't really sure of the term myself until I kind of experienced it, and I just felt like it screamed to me that the guy was very insecure. Like he was very like anxious to like lock something in very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this goes to the first thing I said, where he kind of wants to take you off the market because maybe he really likes you.
Yeah.
Or he's fallen in love with the idea of you.
Yes.
If he doesn't know you well enough.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah. I think so. And that happens. You know, people meet people and they go, oh my gosh, this person. And it's hard because how do you know whether it's an instant connection that you have with someone or it's more an infatuation with them?
Right.
And I think the difference is the instant connection is it's reciprocated to the same degree. But if it's not, then it's kind of an infatuation. And if they're infatuated with you and you not with them, then obviously, at least initially, they like you more. And they may be like, okay, I don't want anyone else to date this girl. So if I tell her I love her, maybe that will push her along to get to the point that I'm at.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But it doesn't work.
No,
it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. And do you think guys really, they do understand the difference between infatuation and love? Because I just sometimes wonder that.
No, I don't think people do initially. I think if the infatuation comes later, when you enter the honeymoon phase, so you've been dating someone for a bit and you've gotten to know them and you're really kind of building that foundation, and then you get to a point where I can't stop thinking about her, I want to do this with her. I think that's the beginning of love. Yeah. Because you've gotten to the point of where you started to become more infatuated with that person through building that trust and intimacy. But in the beginning, nah, I think it's just infatuation. I think any infatuation that happens prior to the trust that you have with that person, because I don't know how you can be infatuated with someone you don't, or I don't know how you can love someone you don't trust. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you can't. You don't know them. Like, trust takes time to build. So yeah. I find it very uncomfortable when the word gets thrown around so loosely.
So in your experience, have guys really thrown it quite loosely with you?
I would, in recent times, right? Okay. When I just, dating recently. Yeah. And it made me feel really, it's just very uncomfortable, really.
It's so funny because I feel like I've heard many women want that more. They want a guy to tell them that they like them, and they want a guy to kind of get to that emotional point with them a lot quicker. But you're like, nah, it's happening too quick for me.
The dilemma, right? Well, yeah, but I don't, if it's not genuine, it's like, it's very weird to say, I think, right? Like,
oh, of course.
For me anyway, like saying the L word, I can't even say it now. It's like, ugh. But like, just, it takes like a bit of time. Like, I agree. I find it a bit strange to say you think you feel that way towards someone. So
what's the quickest time frame you've said to a guy you were saying I love you?
It depends, like when I was at school, you might say it after a week, right? I love you.
He got me a hot dog and ice cream. I love him.
Yeah, right. But I think probably like between 3 to 6 months.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I'll probably say I'm about the same.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense. Because at that point, you're probably in the relationship and you've established that stuff, and yeah, that makes sense. So obviously we're talking about a guy being infatuated, right? Or people being infatuated. And I think an uncomfortable reality is that whenever two people are dating, or even when they get together in a relationship, one person always wants and likes the other person a little bit more, right? There's a psychologist called Dr. Orion, and he calls it, one person is the adorer and one person is the adored.
Right.
And a lot of people think that they want to be the adored because it's like, oh, of course, we want to be the person that they love us and they want us more. But actually, when you're the adorer, when you're the person who loves them more, you get to experience the emotional experience, that you get that experience. Do you know what I mean? To love someone and be with the person you really want. So what my question to you is, I'm going to ask general and then I'm going to ask for you. So as a general, do you think it's better in relationships for women to be the adorer, where she wants the man more, or for the man to be the adorer when he wants her more?
The man to adore the woman.
Why do you think that? Is that you believe that for yourself as well?
Huh?
You believe that for yourself as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, why do you say that?
I even in my head was like, why is he even asking me this? He must know the answer.
Well, I think something different. I'll tell you why. But why do you think it's better that the man wants the woman more?
It's definitely better for the man to want the woman more. Like, women generally are more emotional. So you need to be stronger than your emotions when it comes to relationships. You can't let your emotions always drive things, because sometimes that's when the heartbreak can happen, or you can get manipulated, or, you know, you can be a bit delusional about a romance.
Yeah.
So if the guy is more into you, then it's probably going to have a bit more of a steady pace, I think, with the relationship.
Who do you think values the emotional intimacy and experience more in relationships, men or women?
Emotional intimacy.
Like, who do you think places more value on the emotional elements of the relationship?
I think probably generally it's usually women, right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it can be down to some females' personalities, you know? Like, some females can be a bit more avoidant. So they might be more drawn to a guy who's more open emotionally if they're a bit more reserved, which I think in recent times I've definitely found I've been a bit more like that.
Sure.
Again, like, I think it would be beautiful and healthy if a guy openly says that he likes
he loves
that.
you.
Yeah, well, no, if he values the emotional intimacy more than the physical.
I hear that. So I agree with you. I think that the emotionality aspect of the relationship, women place more value on that. And that's why it's better for her to be the adorer. That's why it's better for her to like him more. Because the person who likes the other one more, they're the one that get to have the emotional experience of being with the person that they truly want. They get to have the experience of, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to be with them. Every time I'm with them, I'm just like, right? And it's not saying that the guy can't experience that, or whoever is the adored can't experience that. But because men place generally less value on the emotional aspect of the relationship, if it's not to a certain degree, he's okay with that. But I think women, for them, it's like, if I'm not really into him, whatever, and because that's really important to me, I'm out. Or I'm going to start be open and look for something else. So actually, and I get it, like I said, most people think they want to be the one who's being adored because it gives the illusion of power, or it does give power, right? Because if they like you more, you feel that you have more power in the relationship. But that means you get to experience less of the emotional love within that relationship. So I actually think it's better if the woman wants the man more. It's more important that she gets her top choice than he gets his top choice, is what I'm trying to say.
So you don't believe that they can just equally adore each other in equal measure?
I think you can definitely adore each other. I'm not going to say you can't, because I've had that before. But one person will always want the other person a little bit more, or a lot more. I think it's like, this is part of the reason why I don't think men and women can be friends as a whole. I think it's rare. I think certain conditions have to be met. But part of the reason why I don't think men and women can be friends is because it's rare to have a man and a woman who find each other equally as attractive. They find each other on the same level of attractiveness. One person always finds the other one a little bit more attractive.
Okay.
Usually it's the guy finding the girl a bit more attractive, which is why he tends to take an interest in her and then she friend zones him.
Okay.
Right? Now, if she finds him a bit more attractive, she may not try and initiate the romantic path for their relationship. But if she gets to know him and they actually do become friends, then it is later that she'll start to fall for him because she's already physically attracted to him, right? And now she's built the companionship because that's what the friendship is. Now she's like, crap, like I love this guy.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Is that how it goes?
Does that make sense? What do you think?
Well, I think first of all, I still don't like the idea of the females adoring the guys more. I feel like, I don't know, even just like in society as a whole, it's like, you know, it's always a bit like, oh, what's he done? Why has he upset you? Oh, what's he done to annoy you? You know, it's like you're saying that it's all her energy, her emotions, her feelings getting hurt by the man. And that's why I don't think that's right. Like, I think it's much, much better and smarter for females to let the guy be more into you. So you can, you know, use your energy in other ways on other stuff. Like, yeah, because, you know, females, like, we overthink everything so much as well, you know?
Yep.
So I don't believe that dynamic is a good one.
You said that, why they're talking about women talk about their feelings, like, why do you feel this way? What has he done, etc.? And you're like, oh, it's always her feelings getting hurt. I think it's always her feelings that are getting prioritized. Because there are things that girls and women do in relationships that hurt the guy's feelings or that he's not okay with. But men let a lot of stuff go more than women realize for the sake of the relationship. Mm-hmm. A lot of the time in relationships, when it comes to the emotional aspect and the emotions and the feelings, a lot of the time the woman's feelings are prioritized more than his. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying that's the general dynamic. So what you're referring to isn't that because she's always getting hurt. It's just that, no, if something's not right with her emotionally, then we have to sort it. But if something's not right with him emotionally, unless it's quite dire, a lot of the time, it won't be a priority. And sometimes there's some things where he'll just like, oh, I'll just handle it myself or whatever.
Interesting.
Give me another question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that either. Okay. I like the idea of that, but I do feel like guys can be super selfish and, you know,
I think people
think about their feelings, their own feelings first.
I think everybody thinks about their feelings. I think people can be selfish, but in relationships, I disagree. I think guys tend to prioritize how she feels more than she thinks about how he feels about something. Because like I said, guys let a lot of things go. Do you know what I mean? Like if she doesn't want him to do something, he's like, why? She'll be like, because I just it doesn't make me feel good. That's quite a common rhetoric from the woman. I hardly, not that it never happens, but we very seldomly hear a guy say, oh, I don't want you to do this because it doesn't make me feel good. Like usually guys give a logical reason, like, I don't want you to do this because of X and X, not because of my emotions.
Yeah, they don't talk about their feelings.
Well, I think some guys don't, it's true. But what I'm trying to say is that men tend to, we're playing in generalizations, but men tend to operate more from the logistics of reasoning, not the emotional reasoning. The emotional reasoning tends to be a language more we see in women, not men, which is part of the reason why we tend to prioritize women's emotions, not men.
Yeah, see, I think a logical approach though is much better. That's what I mean. That's why, again, I feel like
I think a balance is good. I think there should be all one or another. Like guys should never be emotional. Women should always be logical.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the dynamic. What would you say? I'll let you ask a question. Something just came to mind now. Do you believe that someone should be in the leadership position of the relationship? Do you believe somebody should lead the relationship?
I mean, yeah.
Do you think it should be the woman or the man?
I do. I think someone, like if it's a natural leadership, you know, and it's in a healthy way. It's not toxic or it's not, you know.
Yeah, we're operating assuming it's healthy.
Yeah.
Do you think it should be the woman or the man?
Whichever works. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it needs to be set in stone if it's the guy or the female, right? It's just,
I agree.
I think, you know, I think.
What about for you? Let me ask specifically for you. Would you like to lead your relationship or would you like your man to lead?
I think deep down, yeah, I would like the guy to lead it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think it's nice if he can take a natural leadership in things between the two of you. You know, if you're going to think of it in a long-term way, you know, like, I think that's a good thing.
Yep.
As long as it's like a good leadership.
Yeah, of course.
With the right guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. All right, what else did you want to grill me on?
Okay. All right.
I'm opening myself up, guys.
Oh yeah. So, okay.
Wish me luck.
Again, kind of going back to the love bombing thing a little bit. So why do guys get so invested in social media whilst dating?
Their own social media or the girl's social media?
Yeah, like, why is it such a priority when you meet a girl? You ask for their Instagram. You need to see their stories. You need to like them. If they don't like it back, it means they don't like you. Like, what is that about? Because I find it, again, like, a little bit strange. Like, sometimes you can meet somebody or talk to somebody and, you know, if you haven't followed them back within 24 hours, it's like, oh, she doesn't like me. And I just find it a bit like, okay, like, you know, it's.
Yeah, I think that's a bit rash decision. Well, I think the reason people ask when they've just met someone, I think the reason they ask for their Instagram is because what we show on Instagram is what we present to the world. And you can tell quite a lot about a person by their Instagram.
Do you think?
I think if they are an avid social media user and they post regularly, like they're making regular posts, reels on their stories, then yeah, you can definitely find out a lot about them, kind of what lifestyle they live, what they're into, what they like, what they don't like. You can find out a lot from Instagram.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you not ever investigate a guy's Instagram once you've got his, if you're interested in him?
Yeah, but you know, like, I think I'm really at a point where it should be off the cards.
What do you mean off the cards?
Like, ask for the number, like, have human connection, but like, leave social media alone. Like, I think it can really destroy so many relationships and like just like a massive fail for dating. Like, you know.
I agree. I think the human face-to-face connection should always be the priority. I think it's like back in the day, and I think actually I've heard some women still do it now. Like, when they match with a guy on like a dating app, they always put his name into Google. You want to make sure he's not a serial killer, see if he is who he says he is, you know, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Instagram's no different. It's the same thing. You're just investigating someone. You're just doing your background check. Like, does this person, if you've met them in real life, do they present themselves on Instagram the way that they do in real life? And if they don't, why?
Yeah.
And sometimes the why is justified, but sometimes it's not justified. It's like, did I really meet who I thought I did, or is this actually who they are? I don't think it should be a make or break. So if you took an interest in someone and you see their Instagram and then you're like, nah, I'm not going to see them because of that. I guess it depends what you see.
Yeah.
I mean, political stuff, I think people tend to, if they have a very political Instagram and somebody sits on the other side, they'll probably be like, nah.
Yeah. I just feel like sometimes it can like make or break some people, you know, they can ask for it or they want to do that investigation.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't want to, or if you're not, you know, say liking their pictures as well, or whatever, it's like, okay, this person's not interested. And then I'm like, well, you know, does it like, just even if you don't want to, like, swap your Instagrams, that doesn't mean that you're not interested in a person to date them, right?
Yes, if you don't want to give your Instagram to someone.
Because it sounds stupid when you say it out loud. You're like,
I agree, but then my immediate question is, why would you be averse to sharing your Instagram with the guy that you're interested in?
Well, as I say, from my experience, it can destroy a lot of relationships. So I feel like if you want to like build a foundation, like just take away all that stuff, like just meet the person, get to know them.
Would you give them your
without
number
any like preconceptions of them, right?
I get that, and I agree. I think that's actually really healthy. But you give them your number. You're not into him.
If I like a guy, yeah, you're gonna give them your number, yeah.
Okay, so the guy that you like, he asked for your Instagram and your number. Do you give him both or just your number?
If I really like the person, I would give them my number.
If you give them your Instagram, what does that mean?
It means I'm not completely sold. Well, I'm not sure.
So basically, I agree, a number's more personal.
Yeah.
So, that's so interesting. I mean, yeah, if you don't give a guy an Instagram or a number, clearly you don't like him.
An email.
An email. You can't have my number, but come to my new class. It's happening next Wednesday.
Email address.
I'm taking, email me. You just send them loads of leaflets. Okay, so are there guys that you do follow on Instagram?
Do I follow guys on Instagram?
Do you have anyone that you follow? Do you follow any guys on Instagram?
Of course.
Okay, so what is it about them that you're like, yeah, I'll give my Instagram to you? Apart from family.
Yeah, well, it's just, again, if I'm not too sure about someone or whatever, then I'll just, you just give them your Instagram to connect some way there. I don't know.
Okay.
I do think giving a number out is super personal.
I agree. But it's just, you were just like, oh, if you really like a guy, you don't want to give him your Instagram because it can ruin things. Yeah. Which I don't disagree with you. Mm-hmm. I think that's a very fair point to make. Mm-hmm. So why did you give your Instagram to the guys who do have your Instagram right now?
Well, like I said, if you're kind of not sure.
Okay. So basically, if you like them less and they ask for your Instagram, you'll say yes. But if you like them more and they ask for their Instagram, you'll say no.
I mean,
That's a bit confusing.
It's not like that black and white, but I would, I would probably steer away from that and give them my number if I really thought I want to spend some time with this person and invest some energy. Whereas like Instagram takes 5 seconds to just scroll through, and then that's it. It's like, okay, and I feel like, especially with like Instagram dating apps, it's a bit like going on ASOS or Amazon, right? You just putting people in little like shopping baskets and okay, yeah, I'll have a look through at some point. So
wow, there's a discount on this one.
Right. Yeah, there's no meaning there. So it's a bit like you just sort of get thrown back kind of in this kind of weird pool. So obviously, yeah, giving somebody your number is like quite a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's more personal for sure. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you ghosted someone and why?
Oh, that's really sad.
Yeah.
Ghosting.
Yeah.
Well, ghosting is a tricky one because I think sometimes you might have even forgotten that you've done it. Does that make sense?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I think if you like someone, you want to continue the conversation, I think you continue with intention.
Okay, so how do we define ghosting? Is it like you've already been on the date and then you've ignored them, or is it just like you just haven't texted them back? Is that ghosting?
Both of those, yeah. Like if you go on a date and they reach out to you and you don't respond, or if you've been texting back and forth and you just stop responding. Mm-hmm. She's done it a lot, guys. Clearly, you can tell.
No, last time I ghosted somebody was...
She's like, what day is it today? Shit, Wednesday.
Oh my gosh, stop. Probably like last month. I did ghost somebody.
Okay, why did you ghost him?
Yeah. I just wasn't into them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Had you gone on a couple of dates or?
We went on one date.
Right.
Yeah, so...
Did he take you somewhere fancy? He didn't take you to McDonald's, did he?
It wasn't McDonald's. No, we had a nice date.
Nice.
I didn't feel any sort of vibe, really. Yeah.
What is this vibe?
And then you leave it too long, don't you, to reply or text back, and then...
That's kind of semi-intentional though, isn't it? Like if you didn't feel the vibe, you're like, I'm not that fussed about you. Because if you felt the vibe, you would respond, wouldn't you?
I mean, I always try to be quite intentional with somebody. If I go on the date, I will probably try and wrap it up at the end. I'll be in touch soon, you know.
Sounds like a job interview.
What? No, like I had a really nice
touch.
time, and like to make it quite clear, you know, I guess.
What, that you do like them, that you don't?
No, yeah, like be very clear and intentional, because I think the other way around, guys are terrible for that. Like they're really bad at it. You know, they'll be like, I'll call you later. And then they've got no intention of calling, or they're, I might text you or whatever. And they've got no, you know, whereas like, I think, you know, for me, I was like, okay, when the shoe's the other foot, it's horrible. So always be like really clear and intentional with the dude, you know? So like, just be really frank. I just want to be friends. I'm not going to call, or I don't want to see you again.
Okay.
Because maybe going back to what you said before, how they're a bit more logical, or they're not going to be so emotional. They can take it. They can take it a lot more. So I feel like with guys, when they ghost, they say it because they're kind of like, oh, you know, I just want to kind of like make sure she's going to be all right. I'll just say it. I'll say I'm going to call, so she feels okay, and then I might just not call. You know.
So I agree.
Yeah.
I think
which is bad. It is bad.
Yeah, I think, you know, rightfully or wrongfully so, I think it is better to be honest. And yeah, I think guys will be like, in the moment, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll text you in a bit, and because he's prioritizing her emotions over the logical thing, to do, which is saying whatever. So with
that's why they shouldn't do that.
I agree. We should all be honest. I agree. So with this guy that you went on a date with, what did you say to him at the end?
I just, you know, I had a really nice time, and I'm just not really open to date at the moment.
Oh, that's what you said to him?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say, I think this is better as friends?
Oh, yeah, I think I said that as well. Like, I'd rather be friends.
Because were you open to dating, or you just weren't open to dating him?
I think after the date, I thought, no, this is not a good time right now to date.
Oh, okay. So that was genuine. Like you genuinely like, I'm not really in a place to date anymore.
No, I thought this is not a good time. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But he was okay. Like, yeah. But I did ignore his text. So that was a bit bad.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It happens. Like, a lot of the time people are like, why did they ghost me? Like, why? Like, they want to find out why. We want to find out why. And I get that. We do want to find out why. But the why doesn't matter.
No.
Ghosting is a form of rejection. Ghosting someone is the same as saying, hey, I'm just not interested.
It is, but it is, like I said, I always try to be intentional, and, you know, you can still communicate it. Whereas the thing that I think why a lot of females get really annoyed is that guys don't communicate. And like you said, they're trying to prioritize their emotions. Whereas I think sometimes guys literally need to just say, look, I'm not interested. I really do. And I think that would, instead of just, you know, leaving it, like, I think that would make things a lot easier for some women.
I get what you're saying. I don't disagree with the principle. But plenty of women ghost as well. Plenty of women don't actually say, hey, I'm just not interested, because they don't want to confront him, especially if they're in person. So I think everybody ghosts. I don't think you're like, oh, women get so upset about ghosting. Well, guys do too. But the difference is guys just kind of move on, be like, well, she ghosted me. I didn't hear from her. Whereas girls go, can't believe he ghosted me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is what I'm saying about when women's emotions and feelings, when there's an issue, we prioritize it, so we have to address it. Guys, we don't.
But you know, something I like that, like you're kind of trying to strike a match. You're trying to strike some fire in someone, right? Like, in my experience, the guys that have confronted me about that like shitty behavior, I'm like, oh wow, yeah, no, you're right. I shouldn't have done that, you know? And then I'm more likely to actually respect him and maybe even go on another date with him, because then I'm like, he's had enough confidence to come and say, you know, who are you? Why have you done that to me? What's the reason? And confronting it. So you have to confront the situation and communicate, which I think I'm like, that's actually, you know, I think that's fair. And, you know, but I feel like the other way around, if a female does that, I mean, it kind of depends on the scale of how she does it. guys will probably think she's crazy or she's, being some psycho. But it's very normal to be like, well, hang on a minute, what's the reason for that?
I think it is normal to be like, hey, I've not heard from you. I agree it is good and attractive when a guy can set a boundary. So if you've done something with him that crosses the line, he goes, hey, you did this, that's not okay with me.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
But when it comes to ghosting, I don't think he should try and confront her about ghosting. Just take it as she's not interested. Because if she was, she would text you back. And it's the exact same thing for women. If he was interested, he would text you back. If he's not texting you, he's not interested. And I get it. Ghosting isn't nice, but everybody does it. Some people do it because they just want to make the person feel okay in the moment. Some people do it because they want to avoid confrontation. Mm-hmm. But it's still a way of communicating. Like, no response is still communicating a type of response.
Yeah. Okay, well then, what do you consider like the time frame for ghosting? Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean a time frame? What do you mean a time
well,
frame?
like, if you haven't replied to that person in a day, in 2 days, 3 days, a week, like, when do we like, okay, yeah, like I've ghosted them or they've ghosted me? Like, what's the time frame? That's
an interesting question. I think...
Because I know females think about that kind of stuff a lot.
Okay, fair
they
enough.
do, It's like
understand.
Sometimes maybe they think, okay, yeah, he's not replied in 24 hours. And, the girlfriends will be like, it's okay, like leave it 48 hours. Or
so
like
funny.
you have a 3-day rule and it's like, okay, well, if he's not replied by this time, then it's, it's nuts. But like, I think a lot of females can get a bit like that sometimes.
I get that.
And it's the other way around. I think, when would you be like, okay, this this chick doesn't like me?
I'd say, so usually before going on a first date, people have talked to some degree, right? They've built up some kind of rapport, usually. Not everyone. Some people are like, hey, let's just meet. But let's say they've been talking for a couple of weeks and let's say they text, the response is like every 12 hours. So he responds in the morning, she might respond in the afternoon, he might respond in the evening, right? If that is the... texting, I was going to say schedule, routine that you've developed together, if that changes after the date where, let's say, he texts her like the day after the date saying, hey, I had a really nice time, and then he doesn't hear from her for like till 3 days later, I'd be like, she's not interested.
Okay.
Because I think if she didn't respond until several days later, and when she responds, she only responds to the conversation. She doesn't go, oh, hey, sorry, I didn't get back to you. I've been busy with X, Y, and Z, because sometimes that happens. Then she's not interested because she's breaking the pattern that they've developed together. And I'd say the same for the guy. So if she's been used to hearing him every day or every other day, and then she texts him and then she doesn't hear from him for a few days, he's breaking that pattern. There's been a shift because you've met and maybe he's gone, maybe this isn't the person for me.
Wow, that's a lot. My brain's hurting from that. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, whoa.
Does that make sense?
That's so many rules.
Well, not rules.
Yeah,
I think it's just like recognizing patterns. Do you know what I mean?
Recognizing patterns. Yeah, I think a lot of people have different ways of communicating as well. I was just thinking when you said that, like, a lot of people can use texting as their way of communicating instead of like speaking on the phone or being in person. You can hide behind your phone quite a bit.
Yeah, I've got in trouble. I'm not a big texter. Okay. I prefer phone calls.
Yeah. So
I'm the type of guy where I'd rather have a phone call once every 2 or 3 days and we have like an hour's chat, talk about what's been going on, than texting all day every day. Because I just hate being on my phone like that. I don't like it.
Yeah, I agree.
But some people are like, well, if you're not trying to text me every day, that means you don't like me.
Exactly, right? And then what would you do?
But then, yeah, like I said, I guess but then if you communicate that, just like, oh, hey, I just don't, this is how I like to communicate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But then I think you should both make an effort to compromise for each other.
You should make and I think, if you're first meeting someone or you're kind of out in the dating world and you're like, I prefer not texting. And they're like, yeah, I do. It's like, then who then wins that sort of...
Well, I think this is the compromise. So like, let's say she's the type of girl who's like, oh, I like texting every day. And he's like, that's really not me. Mm-hmm. I think you both make an effort to compromise, right? Because you're going to have to do that in a relationship. So let's say he's used to having a phone call once every few days and she's used to texting every day. Maybe they text every other day. So she relaxes her standard of having to talk to him every day, but he also makes an effort in an area that she values. And I think that's a reasonable compromise. What do you think?
I think it's reasonable, and I'm totally on page with you, but I think in the reality of dating, like, it doesn't seem to go that way. Again, I feel like people are not willing to compromise.
Well, that's a lack of maturity on their part, and they will struggle to have long-lasting relationships because you have to compromise in relationships.
Yeah. No, of course.
Do you know what I mean? There's some things you have to compromise, like especially if, and I feel like texting, that's not a big deal to compromise on. I think it's different if you have to compromise on values. So like, for example, if one of you's like, I don't know, like super right-wing conservative and the other one's super liberal, you're just not a good match for each other because you have different values, right? So I don't think you should compromise on values.
Okay.
You should have the same values.
Yeah.
But how often you're going to text? Come on. You shouldn't break up because of that. That's silly.
It is
Especially
silly.
if you both like each other and want to be with each other. You can come to a compromise.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. But then it sounds silly, but at the same time, like, if the communication is not, flowing, like, that's everything to get a relationship going, right?
I hear that. I mean, is talking every other day really stopping the flow?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't think so.
All right.
In my experience, I've found some guys do.
Ah.
That's what I mean. Then it's very difficult to then gauge, are you doing that because you do like me or you don't like me? And, I can even go a couple of days without talking to someone.
You sound like me and my guy friends. That's what we say.
Yeah, like, I don't see the, if you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, like, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But then
of course.
sometimes it can be interpreted like, oh, that girl's probably talking to loads of guys and she's not really bothered. And it can go like down this massive rabbit hole. And vice versa as well for females. They can get in this sort of like mindset where, okay, if we haven't spoken for a few days, like we just said, then, he's not interested or he's being a player. But then it's like, well, he might just be doing other things.
Might just be busy. It's so true. It's so true.
Interesting.
Do you want to ask something else?
Okay.
Be as harsh or mean as you like.
Okay. Do you think men need a lot of validation?
In comparison to women?
Yeah.
No.
No?
I think women need more validation than men do.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, let me rephrase. I think men and women feel validated in different ways. But maybe I'm biased. I think women need more than men. I think women need more attention, need more verbal validation that he's still into her, he's interested. Whereas I think guys, it's like, okay, well, if she's seeing me and we're being intimate, she doesn't have to say she likes me. Her actions are showing that. I think men want to be validated in the effort that they make. So if he makes an effort to plan a really nice day for you, you just say, oh, I really appreciate that you planned this day for us. Mm-hmm. Like, I really enjoyed myself. I think guys do want that validation, for sure.
But do you think that nowadays, like, people date just for validation?
Some people do, yeah.
Like, they want some sort of validation that they're still desirable, they're still attractive, or, I can still get this person.
Very true.
And once I kind of think that they like me or they're interested, then it's like, that's enough for me. Like, I don't want any more.
Yes.
So they're dating just for that purpose.
Yes, but I think guys do it differently. So I don't think guys would just date a girl just to get to a point that she likes him. And they'd be like, cool, I'm out. Usually if a guy's dating a girl, because he wants to be physically intimate with her. Mm-hmm. So it might be he's dating her to have sex with her. And then when he does have that, he's like, okay, cool. Which isn't great, but it happens. I think the whole thing of going on dates with someone to the point that they like them and then maybe bouncing out, I think women do that more. Because I think women get validation through attention, not through sex, more so.
Okay.
So like girls will go on dates with guys that they know they have no interest in being physically intimate with. Guys generally don't do that. No, guys definitely don't do that. Guys don't go on dates with girls that he doesn't want to be physically intimate with. But girls definitely go on dates with guys that she's like, I probably wouldn't be physically intimate with him, but I'm going to go on this date anyway.
Do you think?
Have you never been on it? Has every guy you've ever been on a date with, you're like, yeah, I'd have
but then surely that's a good quality then about the female, because she's not then prioritizing the physical aspect straight away. She's like, okay, I'm not completely sold on his physical looks, but I want to get to know this person because of more than that.
If she's open to it, that's different. But I'm talking where girls are like, yeah, I know that I wouldn't be like that with him, but she's going to go on the date anyway because she wants to have a nice time and it makes her feel good.
Okay, so that it's just for yourself, selfish reason.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think that's how women seek validation, through the attention. I think men seek validation through the sex. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe. Yeah, I think it's a total waste of your time to go on a date with someone though if you've got like zero, like, I mean, how is that going to make you feel good, right? If you're not interested in the other person, it's just like speaking to a brick wall. Like, it's just a waste of like energy.
I hear that. I mean, I would agree with that, but I think it's more just because they're not interested doesn't mean it doesn't feel good to receive someone else's affection and love. Right? So it can still feel good for a guy to make the effort. He's going to pick me up. He's going to take me out to this place. We're going to have a nice time, even though I only really see him as a friend, but I'm not going to tell him that because I'm enjoying the attention and investment he's making.
Do you think the guy's aware of that as well? But he just goes along with it?
No, most guys are not aware at all. No.
I mean, I would like to think that I wouldn't do that to a guy, to be honest.
Have you ever been on a date with a guy that you weren't attracted to?
I went on a blind date and then realized I wasn't.
That's different. So every guy you've ever been... That was a bit of
a shock.
I can imagine. You didn't see a picture of him at all. I guess that's a blind date.
Well, he didn't really look... he didn't really look like
we didn't look good together. Have you ever been on a date with a guy that you were not attracted to? That wasn't a blind date?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did the attraction grow or did it not grow?
You know, for me, I definitely think that I don't need to be 100% physically attracted to somebody. If anything, I'd think they're a danger zone.
Would you mean?
Yeah.
What would you mean they're a danger zone?
If they were just like physically attractive, I would probably stay away from them.
Why is that?
From my experience, they're usually a bit too self-assured, maybe a bit narcissistic, a bit full of themselves, you know, about themselves, a bit too selfish. So, yeah, like I would prefer someone who's not as attractive and has a bit more substance to them. So
you said that if they're very attractive, you apply like maybe they're a bit narcissistic, selfish. I understand that.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a fair assessment for men to make of very attractive women?
I think they do.
Do you think it's a fair assessment for them to make?
No, I don't.
So, wait. If a guy's very attractive, it's fair to make that assessment that he's a bit of a narcissist and selfish. But if a girl's very attractive, it's not a fair assessment.
Well, I guess then it would be double standards. But in my experience...
It might be, but I guess, okay.
But then we are different. Guys and females are different.
We are different. But okay, let me ask you this. Who do you think gets more in the world from being attractive, men or women?
Women.
Okay, so isn't the likelihood that she's probably more likely to be a narcissist and selfish because the world has given her a lot for being attractive, more so than the attractive man?
No, there's a lot of attractive women who don't get everything they want just from being attractive.
No, but I think women benefit more for being very attractive, right? And
what do they benefit?
Attention, favors, opportunities. You can go on OnlyFans to sell feet pics. I don't know any guy that can do that.
Well, if it's your feet, you're never going to know. I mean, they kind of look unisex, right?
Wow, it's true. I mean, if you take care of them, then true. like most of the supermodels in the world are women. Like women, you know, there's this whole thing of, you know, in the party scene, like in Miami and Bermuda and stuff like that, women will get flown out to other countries purely because she's really attractive and guys want to meet her. I don't know any guy that's been flown out to somewhere because a girl just thought he was super attractive that she was going to pay for him to get there.
Would you like that? Do you think guys would like that?
Oh, I would take that 100%. I mean, I've dated a sugar mom before where she paid for everything. And I was like, wow, this is what it's like being a woman. And I was like, this feels great. No wonder girls want this.
Oh, wow.
No wonder like girls are like, yeah, I'm strong and independent, but when it's with a guy, I kind of go to my traditional role. Like, I can see why. But she was, like I said, she was significantly older, so and she was very wealthy.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's slightly different for attractive men and attractive females, but from my side, I would definitely, aesthetically, of course, you want them to be attractive, but they don't need to be like, you know,
model-esque.
Calvin Klein billboard. But I mean, I wouldn't say no to that.
You heard it here, guys. If you've got a Calvin Klein gods, just slide into a DM. What's something you'd like to ask?
You want me to ask you another question?
Yeah, go for it. Grill me.
Okay. All right. Do you think that women who are a bit more emotionally unavailable, guys see that as more of a challenge or not? Like, yeah.
So that she's not really open to dating or she's not really open to get into a relationship?
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes you can say to a guy, I'm just not dating at the moment. And they're like, okay, cool. So what are you doing tomorrow? Like,
oh, I see.
They just, you know, they don't seem to listen to what you're saying. And they'll still just...
Guys just don't listen.
Yeah, like you could even say, I have a boyfriend. And they're like, okay, cool. Yeah. So what's your number? Like, why do they do that? Like, they just keep trying, like...
I think, I'm not saying this is right. And I think that if a guy approaches a girl and she's like, oh, I'm not interested, I think he should take it and be like, cool, I tried. She's not into me, move on. I think the reason guys continue to pursue is because they think they have a chance at changing her mind. They think if I show her enough value that I bring, then maybe she'll be open to having something with me. Because guys know girls will say, I have a boyfriend to deter them. And guys know that they'll say, I'm not really dating to deter them. That's not saying that guys shouldn't listen and should stop pursuing once he hears that. He should. You really should. Right? But guys think that they can change her mind.
So they like the chase.
I think some guys like the chase, but I think it's more if he sees a girl, because they say men fall in love with their eyes and women fall in love with their ears, right? That's why women wear makeup and guys tell lies, right? So guys can see a girl, and if she is like his type to a T, he finds her very attractive, he can become like, wow, I really want to spend time with this girl. I really want the chance to potentially have something, or at least to get to know her. And sometimes he can be blinded by that. I'm not saying it's right, but sometimes that can happen. And so he thinks, okay, she's not open to me because I've not demonstrated enough value yet. But if I do, then she's probably more likely to be open to it. So I think that's why guys do it. It's the same thing as when, like, you know, we have like friends with benefit situations with a girl and a guy. And it's the same thing when like a girl's dating a guy and he's like, yeah, I'm not really open for a relationship right now. So if we're going to hang, it's just going to be a chill thing. She's like, yeah, sure. But in her head, she's going, I can change his mind.
Do you think?
I think a lot of girls do that, yeah. And they fall into that trap, unfortunately.
Of thinking that they can change a guy's mind?
Yeah, they think they can change his mind to wanting a relationship or wanting a relationship with her. And so they stay in it thinking that eventually he will change his mind, or if she stays with him and spends enough time with him, he will start to emotionally connect with her more. But what ends up happening is she just starts falling for him more. And then she gets to a point where she's like, she really wants this. And he's like, I told you I don't want a relationship. She's like, how can you not like me? We spent so much time together. So yeah, it's kind of the equivalent thing.
I do agree with that, but I think that some guys have got that sort of story so like cemented in their minds that like it's cool. I've said it's friends with benefits. She's going to fall for me. She's going to keep trying. She's going to keep investing. So like, I know that's basically the way things are going to go down. Right. But then what if she's like, well, no, like, I'm just going to walk away. Like, that's fine then.
She should walk away. If she wants a relationship and he's gone, I'm not in a place where I can give that, she should definitely walk away.
But what if she said she doesn't want one?
And she just wants to continue basically just having fun with him. I think that's music to a lot of guys' ears. He would take that.
Would he though? I don't think he would.
Are you joking?
No. I'm not joking.
I think that's why guys will say, I'm not really in a place for a relationship, but I'm down for us to continue seeing each other. Because he's like, I've made it clear that I'm not going to commit to you to a relationship, but I enjoy the fun that we have. And he's like, as long as we're both on the same page, he's like, cool beans.
But you don't think guys get invested a little bit? Like, it can happen the other way around?
It can happen the other way around. It can. I just think the most common is when it's the girl. That's
what I mean. They've got this like precondition in their mind that that's the way it always is with a friend with benefit situation. But where there are like maybe some females that, you know, I don't know if it's right or wrong. Maybe that's what they want at the time. And it might happen the other way around. The guy's invested.
It definitely can. And it does happen sometimes. I think the preconditioning is from men's own experience. They're like, I've experienced it and I have experienced it, where you start seeing a girl and you kind of say, oh, we're both down to have something chilled, like a friends with benefits thing. It's like, cool. And then she gets feelings later. And the guy's like, I don't feel the same. Mm-hmm. Like, or she's like, oh, why don't you want to turn this into a relationship? We're practically acting like a couple. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, we're being affectionate because we like each other, but I'm not looking for a relationship. So it can happen the other way around. Mm-hmm. But for most guys, it's just not their experience.
So if you do like, because I think friends with benefits is a very bad idea anyway. I don't agree with it really that much.
Sure.
Is that the same as a situationship, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
But the situationship is like friends with benefits without the label a lot of the time. But
wait, so what's the difference between the two?
So a situationship is usually when two people are dating, being intimate, but there's no label.
Okay.
And
so how is that different from friends with benefits then?
Well, because friends with benefits, you know it's not leading to a relationship. A situationship, you don't know.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, so you just haven't had the chat yet.
Yeah, a situationship could be you've not had the chat.
So, okay, with a situationship then, are you then still like with other people as well? Or is it just that you haven't put a label on this thing?
Are you talking about guys or?
Yeah, like how does it work with that?
We're talking generalizations, but generally speaking, until you've had the chat that you are exclusive to each other, he is open to dating other people.
And she is, right?
She can be, but not for some reason, but she can be, of course, and she might be. But I think what happens more is the more women invest in a guy that she likes, the more narrow vision she gets. I don't know many women who are looking to be sleeping with multiple guys at the same time over an extended period of time. I don't think most women want to do that. No. They may have a phase where they do that, but then they're like, oh, I'm just looking for fun. But if she's dating a guy that she likes, I don't think she wants to be sleeping with someone else. If she's sleeping with him, I think she'd just rather have that intimacy with him.
Okay, but he's like just not. He hasn't made up his mind then, or is that how a situationship works, or what?
I mean, depends on the situationship. I mean, it might have been that he's like, yeah, this will lead to a relationship eventually, but he doesn't want to give up the opportunity with other women.
Freedom.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give up freedom. It's true.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's slightly different from friends with benefits, but I don't really see how they're different. Like they seem like both murky water type areas, right?
Yeah, I think friends with benefits, you've just outlined that you're just having fun together.
From the beginning?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And a situationship is like...
You might actually be dating and you've not actually said what it is, where it's going. Because you can start to date someone... Mm-hmm. And then after a couple of months, you're like, they're great, but they're actually not for me. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And so you can be like, this isn't really working.
Okay.
Or you can date someone and then you'd be like, oh no, I actually want to be with them, or I want to take this further. But until you have the chat of what is it, where are you going, it's still a situationship.
The chat.
The chat. The chat. How do you have the chat?
The chat?
Yeah, how do you have the chat?
I don't think I've had many chats, like that.
I know. How did you establish being exclusive with your ex-boyfriend?
Yeah, I do remember the chat then, yeah.
Yeah, how did that go? Did you bring it up or did he bring it up?
It was both ways, really. It was just
Nice.
like, okay, this has been going along for a bit of time. Like,
how long have it been going on for?
I don't know, maybe about 5-6 months.
Okay, yeah.
Ish.
That's fair.
Right? And then it's like, okay, so, make it boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I mean,
cool.
I think that's
I think it's
a normal
important.
thing.
Yeah, I agree. Let me ask you something. Have you ever met a guy that you've been like, I am very attracted to you, that I would have fun with you, like sexually, but you don't have the qualities I want for a boyfriend?
Yeah. The last guy I was dating.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the different? What's the criteria for different? Like, what makes you go, you're just sexual fun, and you are potential long-term boyfriend for you?
I think most females know, a bit like with guys, like quite soon in. Yeah.
Really? How soon?
I would say probably after the first date, or even when you first met somebody, you can kind of gauge whether they would just be fun or just a friend or a potential partner, boyfriend.
Are the guys who are just fun, are they always really attractive?
Well, I suppose it goes back to what I was saying before, that in my experience, I've found uber attractive men don't really stand up with the personality side.
Sure.
So they are a bit too into their looks or, themselves to think about anything more, which is fine, which is cool. But then once you know that about the person, then it's like, it is just an aesthetic. So then there isn't really much more to go on apart from that. You might kiss them, you might hook up with them, then it's really down to you as a person on like your self-control, your urges, if that's really what you want or not, right? But I've very rarely met someone who has both. I think most guys tend to fall into one of two categories. They're usually like quite fit, athletic, and you can't really have much of a conversation with them for more than 5 minutes.
Right.
They just don't have much intellect going on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Or, maybe, they are a bit more nerdy, maybe a bit more bookish, a bit more intelligent. But they don't go to the gym every day. But honestly, I can, right? But you can use it like,
you should be at the gym every day.
Yeah.
That's like minimum requirement.
But I would say most females, well, I don't know. Most females I know anyway would go for the second because, like having someone that you can, if you're going to be with someone, you want to be able to connect with them. You want to be able to talk to them. Like you want to have that energy on a much deeper level. Aesthetics is something that's so easy to change, like to improve. The other way around, absolutely not. Like you can't like try and like grab that thing with someone if it's just one dimensional. And I think the other way around for guys, they would be quite happy if it was just aesthetics. They wouldn't mind actually so much if like there isn't that intellectual stimulus. They're okay with just the physicality. And that goes back to that thing about the adoration and all of that. Like I think sometimes they can get a bit of a confusion and they are quite happy with just the appearance and the aesthetic side. They don't need that intellectual stimulus side as much.
I would say, and I think this goes for men and women, it's based on their experience. I think for men, I think if they are not used to dating really attractive women, you're right. They would be like, wow, I have an attractive girl, I will tolerate anything. Because they're not used to it. So the one that maybe they do get, that they come across who actually likes them, they're like, yeah. The guys who are used to dating really attractive girls, it's not enough. Because they would have dated a lot of attractive girls and been like, yeah, maybe choosing purely based on looks doesn't mean they have a lot of substance long term. Those girls, for those guys, they're great for having fun with. But when he's looking to have a serious partner, to settle down, someone who's a teammate for him, someone he can enjoy and laugh with and everything like that, he does start to prioritize having substance, and he will sacrifice looks. She doesn't have to be crazy attractive if that substance is there and she's the type of partner that he's looking for. And I think the same is for women. I think women tend to they get to a point of wanting the nerdy, more average looking guy who has intelligence and, you know, the more substance and personality, only once they've dated a bunch of guys who are crazy attractive. And they realize that that kind of guy stereotypically doesn't have the substance that she wants. But initially, both men and women do choose based on aesthetic. Both do.
Do you think?
Well, you literally told me that you've dated a bunch of very attractive guys and now you wouldn't date them because they come with a lot of narcissistic tendencies.
I mean, a few, you know, like
enough for you to know.
I would say
you're like, I've never found both. So it's from your experience that you've made this assessment. Actually, now I want the guy with substance. I'm not going to prioritize the look so much.
I mean, like, I've never really prioritized looks that much. I haven't. So I sort of was open to seeing if maybe that point of view was correct or not. Do you know what I mean? Of like that they are narcissistic, selfish, all that kind of stuff.
So where did that assessment come from, if not from your own experience with them?
I think just generally, when you meet people, you think he's an asshole and he's not. Like, I don't need to date them. I can just kind of assess that. But then you might be thinking, oh, I'm being a bit prejudiced or you're being a bit judgmental, whatever. So maybe then you open your eyes a bit more and like, okay, I'm going to try something different and see. And then most of the time, yeah, it just kind of like actually reaffirms what you already knew.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, you did literally say that the last guy you dated, you were like, he's super attractive, but I don't see him long term.
Physically.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, he falls into that category of he's really attractive, but he doesn't have the substance that you want for a long-term partner.
Yeah.
So you've had the experience with it, is what I'm saying. And that's cool. I'm just saying, like, the assessment men and women have, like, everybody prioritizes aesthetics first, and then they realize that that's not conducive approaching who they choose to give opportunities to for a long-term partnership. They start to prioritize other things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when they get older. Like, I feel like people in their teens to their early to mid 20s, they're just dating people based on looks a lot of the time. Because a lot of them aren't maybe necessarily I'm not maybe looking for a husband or a wife yet. But then when they get older and they're like, okay, I'm starting to look to settle down, to find a guy who can, you know, kind of have this, and this, that's when they shift their approach because they've realized what they've been doing hasn't been working, which is absolutely fair enough. That's right. But I'm saying I think that's why it happens.
Okay.
She's like, I'll say that, but I don't agree.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think that's probably true. I just think it's a bit of a shame, really.
What's a shame?
That, you know, guys that are just physically attractive don't level up a little bit more.
I mean, guys could say the same with women. That the girls who are really, really attractive that don't have the substance he wants, it's a shame they don't level up a bit more in the areas that he wants.
I'm yet to hear that from a guy, but
They'll never say it to your face. They'll never say it publicly.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like,
okay.
I think this is why you might see a guy, like a guy who's really desirable, and you'll see him get into a relationship with a girl or even marry a girl, and she'll be attractive, but she may not be the most attractive girl that he's ever been with.
Yeah.
Right. Because he's prioritizing something else. Now, he's not going to say that publicly. He's not going to say, oh, well, the girls that was super attractive that I was with didn't have any substance. Guys don't say that because they get chastised for it, right? Women can say that freely.
Oh, can they?
Well, you just did.
Yeah, I have.
And that's fine. Like, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? But guys always show through their actions.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? They may not say it, but they'll show through their actions. I think it is what it is, you know, like if someone's super, super attractive, they place a lot of value there a lot of the time, which not always the case, but it might mean that they don't place value in other areas.
Yeah. And
sometimes that's just what comes with it. Do you know what I mean? Not all the time. You can get people who are very attractive, who are very switched on, and they have that, of course. But both that in men and women, I think is rare.
Right? It is.
It is rare. And if you want to attract something rare, you have to be something rare. Okay. That goes for men and women, boy. It's got to be done.
So we all just need to be rare.
Well, we can't all be rare, otherwise no one's rare. But I think just find what works for you.
Yeah.
Like, we don't all have to be up here. Because we wouldn't all like be happy being up here. Because to be up here takes a lot. It takes sacrifice. And there's things you have to compromise on. And not everyone's willing to make those compromises. So you do what's right for you. And it's fun. I don't know why being average is seen as such an insult. Like, being average in something is sometimes okay. What we should focus is not if we're average, is if we're happy. Are we happy?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have the most attractive girl. You don't have to have the most attractive guy.
Do you think though, like within your friends, or there's like some sort of pressure with that?
Well, my guy friends.
Yeah.
Pressure with what?
You know, like who you're going out with.
In terms of looks?
Well, just generally, I guess.
As in, do they feel pressure from their other guys to date attractive women? Is that what you mean?
Well, like within your peer group, who you're going out with, yeah. Is there some sort of pressure there, do you think?
No, I don't think guys, I don't think guys think, oh, well, if I'm not going to date her because my guy friends won't think she's attractive. I don't think guys do that, no. Because if it doesn't matter if they do or not, all that matters is, does he think she's attractive? Because they're not going to be having sex with her, right? So it's like, as long as I want to, I don't care what anyone else thinks. So no, guys don't care.
They don't?
Not about that guy, no. I think guys feel pressure. Do girls feel pressure? Do they feel a bit of judgment from their girlfriends about the guy they're
going out with?
Yeah.
No, I tend to think it's more of a guy thing. I don't think females do so much. I think there's only sort of pressure if you think your friend's dating a complete douchebag.
Yeah, right? Of course. If you're like, why are you
still with him? Get rid of him.
Yeah.
There might be pressure there, I guess. But in my experience, I think guys, there is some sort of thing between them, like, you know, like some sort of leverage about, you know, who's got the best chick on their arm. Yeah, a little bit. In friendship groups.
I'll be honest, it's funny you think that's guys. I definitely think that's women, more so. I think women can, I've never heard or seen guys like trying to, I mean, everybody likes a bit status, I guess, and being with someone attractive, desirable does give you status, so I'm not going to pretend it doesn't.
Why is that?
Why does being attractive give you status?
Yeah, if it's like you've just said within your friends or whatever, why would
Well, I think just guys and girls in general. Like, if you're with a very attractive guy who's very successful, that gives you status as a woman, especially if he's successful. If a guy's with a very, very attractive girl, that gives him status as a man, initially. But
okay,
do you know what I mean? It's like it's like when guys are telling their guy friends about this new girl, what do they all ask?
What does she look like?
What does she look like?
Right.
When girls say, hey, I'm dating this new guy, what do they ask?
What does he do?
Right.
You knew the answer.
That's my point. But you're right, though. It's true.
What does he do? Yeah, not what he looks like. Yeah.
No. How successful is he?
What's his job?
What's his ability to provide? What lifestyle can he provide you with? For guys, it's like, how attractive is she, bro?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're asking that as the first question. So then is there not some pressure like, about who's going out with who, and is my girlfriend better looking than that, because it's then giving them some sort of status ranking of who they're with, and it's like it just all seems a bit much.
Yeah, I think what I'm saying is that I don't think guys worry that his guy friends won't think she's attractive if he's choosing her. Because if they're his friends, they'll be like, okay, well, he's clearly choosing her for a reason. And we already know that guys will sacrifice on looks for substance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, so she may not be the most attractive, but that means she must be an amazing person. Especially if he's very desirable.
Yeah. So when you were saying about how females ask, what does he do?
Yeah.
Is like a thing. So do you think it matters about females, what they do for a job? Like, do you think guys consider that when they're dating someone?
They do consider it, but for not the reasons you think.
Okay.
They don't consider it for the same reasons women consider it. Okay.
So what's going through their minds with that?
So usually it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but like we said, when a girl asks, what does a guy do? She's like, how successful is he? What's his ability to provide for you? Right?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Okay. So guys generally don't look at women to provide. So that's not why they care. But it'd be like, does she do OnlyFans? Is she a porn star?
Oh God.
Well, like, what does she do? Like, is what she does that provide risk to your relationship?
Right.
That's what guys care about.
Okay.
If it's like, oh, she's works at a charity, golden.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's a teacher, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, she's an influencer, red flag.
Red flag?
Some guys, it's a red flag.
Okay.
Yeah, some guys, it's a red flag.
Tell me about that.
Well, because the guys care about exposure to risk, and if she's an influencer, she's risking, leaving him for someone else because she's meeting all these other desirable guys, attractive guys, whatever. So a lot of guys can be like, I don't want that. It's true.
Okay. So is that not back down to the pressure thing?
The pressure isn't from other guys. It's about the security of the relationship.
Security.
Yeah, because we both want security for the relationship. Like, if you dated a guy and you found out that he'd slept with a man before, you see, you'd be like, whoa, what? Like, how does that make you feel?
Gosh. I don't know. That's a tricky one. It's a very tricky one to say.
That's what I mean.
Me personally, I'm not sure how I would feel about that.
Cool. And that feeling you have now is the exact same feeling guys have, like, she does OnlyFans. Not sure. Don't know. Do I want to commit? Do I want to invest long term in that? It's not a guarantee. Some guys care more than others. Some guys don't care that much. But guys have a standard with that.
What would you think if a guy would be encouraging you to do something like that?
To encourage what? To get into a relationship with a girl who does OnlyFans?
Encourage you to pursue your OnlyFans as a career option.
Oh, I'd say, well, clearly you don't know how money works, because that's, out of all the ways a guy can make money, that's not the best way.
No.
It's also not the easiest way. It's one of the most difficult ways.
Yeah.
For women, different story.
Yeah.
Because, you can capitalize on your looks and stuff, and all the power to you if that's what you want to do.
If that's what you want to do, yeah.
Listen, we're going to wrap it there. We appreciate you coming and sharing your energy with us. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
If people want to find you, where can they find you? On social media.
Yeah, social media. Annishia Camilla Lunette. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on. Guys, go show us some love. Give her a few likes. But if you're interested, don't ask for her Instagram and don't follow her. Because if she gives it to you, it means she's not interested. Okay. No, but we appreciate you for coming on. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And I will see you in the next episode.